Hi there, welcome. Cami here. Hey, I'm just getting ready to head out on a 3-night, 4-day kayak camp adventure with my friend Benita. This will take place on the Manistee River, which is really close to our home and one of our favorite places to paddle and camp on. And today we're going to head up and launch from M72. I don't know if it's a bridge. Do you remember? It's a bridge. Okay, my husband verifies because I've launched from here before on my through paddle of the Manistee River a few years ago. So our goal is to start there, paddle, and end at Harvey Bridge. Tonight, we're going to camp at the CCC Campground. I've never camped there before, so I'll make sure I share it with you. And then the next night will be a dispersed camping. And Friday night, our goal is to camp at Baxter Bridge Campground, State Forest Campground. And then we will exit at Harvey Bridge. Now, the forecast calls for pretty significant chances of thunderstorms. It is going to be in the mid to upper 80s this week. So we're hoping that the weather plays nice and that we are able to complete the whole 4 days without having to bail out.
Grandma?
What?
Do you know what that green thing is?
No.
Snail stop.
Oh. Okay. Bye.
Bye, have fun. Love you.
So we're at about, I'd say 7 miles now, maybe 7.5. And it's becoming more wild, less populated. The first 3 miles, there was a lot of homes. Beautiful homes, but there was a lot of homes. Probably the first 3 miles. And now it's turned into more forests and wilderness. And it's been a very lovely paddle. It's very shallow. There's been some pockets, but for the most part it's shallow and pretty sandy bottom. The water is just really clear. We've seen some really nice trout, but it's been a really lovely paddle so far. We're about halfway to our camp. We're just doing some nice gentle paddling today, a lot of floating and just just being present and taking in the river. It's a lot more engaging than what we're used to downstream. The sections of river I usually paddle. This is a lot narrower, a lot twistier, and a lot more navigating that needs to be done around trees and everything, which makes it fun and interesting, because where I usually paddle is pretty wide open and there's not much to have to paddle around. So this has been a little different. It's been beautiful. It's been great. I haven't paddled up here in this section, gosh, since my through paddle, and I think that's been 4 or 5 years ago. So this has been a very lovely time on the river on this section, because it's kind of new. It's not real familiar to me, so I've been really enjoying it. So anyway, that's my update so far. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little preview of this campground. It's the CCC Bridge Campground right off the Manistee River. And when you come up off the launch, we just decided to grab the first spots here because it's closest and we didn't have to drag our boats, fully loaded boats, too far. So me and Benita are gonna take a walk through the campground. And I'll do a little videoing to give you an idea what the campground's like. Quite a few people here. There's a nice hand pump, nice cold water. There's a camp spot right down in there. We almost took that one in there. We don't think there's any campsites on this side on the river. There's another part to this campground before you go under the bridge, and that side was full. And Benita says this campground is very popular with side-by-side riders because very few campgrounds allow side-by-sides, and this is right on a major trail system, and they allow side-by-sides. There's some hammocks. My first time here. Oh, nice. Oh, lovely. Nice little deck.
Kind of deep though. Definitely
Very
nice step out.
beautiful. Well, it's time to finally settle down and hopefully get to sleep. It's about 9:30. It did rain on us a little bit right after dinner, but it cleared up enough for us to get down to the river and sit and just enjoy some downtime down there. It's so funny because we've been on the river all day, but it's just like you can't get enough of it. And sitting down by the river was very nice, just relaxing. So I just hear some rumbles of thunder overhead a little bit, but Hopefully it's quick passing and nothing too serious. It's very hot still. It's probably near 80. The breeze has died down, so it's not going to be very pleasant sleeping weather. But, you know, it's just part of the game, you know, part of the adventure. And what we do when we want to be outdoors. So, yeah, 17 miles today. Beautiful stretch of the river. Shallow, sandy bottom. There's some deep pockets, but for the most part, it's sandy, nice clear water. Tomorrow, our goal is to leave camp kind of early, depending on the weather, and get an early start because I think we have a 30-mile paddle tomorrow to our dispersed camping spot that we have picked out. So I'm looking forward to another day on the river, and I'm ready to turn in, wrap this day up, and I'll see you in the morning for coffee. Good morning. My campmate woke up. She's going to make us some breakfast.
Good morning.
Morning. Other than that, the birds are chirping. It rained, I think, most of the night, but the campground's nice and dry. And Benita looked at the radar and said that there's rain moving in sometime this morning and then clearing up afternoon. So it doesn't sound bad at all. And yeah, I hope you can hear the birds in the background because it's what a lovely way to wake up. Yeah, so I just wanted to say good morning, share my coffee, and I can't wait to share the river with you today on this section from CCC Bridge to a dispersed campsite. And so tonight's going to be lovely sleeping, I think, just in the middle of the woods, and listening to creeks and rustling and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying my coffee and some breakfast, and I'll catch you up later. So gentle raindrops are starting to fall. I have my rain jacket on right from the beginning. Weather forecast looks like it's going to be a wet day today. There's no wind right now, and the radar shows that the storms are supposed to stay to the north of us. So we're hoping all we're going to get today is rain, and with no wind and it's supposed to be in the 80s, I think we're going to be fine. But I don't know how much I'm going to be able to video. So, nice start to the morning. Getting on the river early, 8 a.m. I think that's the earliest we've gotten on the river ever on a kayak adventure. But we got big miles to do today, and not sure what the weather is going to do. So, yeah, I'll videotape as much as I can before I have to put my phone away. Well, that was our first portage. A little precarious. It brought back memories. I got hung up on a log like that, paddling on the Muskegon, and capsized. First time ever kayaking, and it was at the end of October, and it was very cold. And yeah, so when I got hung up on that log to begin with, oh my gosh, it's amazing how it just like triggers something. But yeah, we portaged around it and was able to get back on the river. No tip overs, and we're all good. Coming up behind you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
How's fishing?
Nice.
There's one more behind me. Okay, so we're getting out. There's an Upper Sharon, which was that first bridge we crossed under. Now we're at Lower Sharon, and there's a landing right here. So we're gonna get out and stretch our legs, take a pee break, and just walk around a little bit. But there's Sharon Bridge. Hi, little baby. I'm going. And there's one of the local liveries that provide service to the Manistee River. Very popular livery. Smithville Landing. So we just took another little break to get out and stretch our legs, and I thought I'd show you. This is Rainbow Jim's Bend boat launch. Nice big parking lot. There's an outhouse up in there. No camping, but it's a very lovely spot to get out, take a break, stretch your legs, and then get back back on the river. Okay, well, today is done. Today's paddle was about 33 miles, and we started at our camp spot at CCC Campground, and we made it here to our dispersed camp spot alongside the river. We just got done with dinner. I washed off in the river, got every camp ready. We're gonna go find a place to hang our food and settle in for the night. So yeah, it was a great day on the river. Brief periods of sprinkles and the sun would come out, but you know, yesterday the sun beat down on us and it was in the 80s, and today it was like I have no idea what the temperature was. It had to have been in the mid to upper 70s, but it was cloudy, and that just made it really a lot more pleasant. And like Benita and I agreed that today's paddle really didn't tucker us out too much. I mean, it was just a nice relaxed paddle. We took numerous breaks and just enjoyed the time on the river. I think we launched at 8 a.m. and we got to camp around, I think, 6-ish. You lose track of time when you're out adventuring sometimes. So yeah, I just wanted to check in and show you around our camp spot, surrounded by nice cedar trees. And it should be a nice, peaceful evening. So thanks for paddling along with me today, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for coffee. One last final check of the campsite to make sure we left no trace behind. None. So off we go. Good morning. Day 3. What a lovely camp spot. Lovely. Nice and quiet and peaceful. Our alarm clock was the birds. So today's goal, the weather is supposed to be ideal today. Dry, sunny skies, and only in the mid 70s. There is a major storm system brewing out west that might reach us tonight. In that case, storms roll through tonight and almost all day tomorrow. So we're going to paddle from our dispersed site to 131 launch. And that should be approximately 12 miles. It'll take us about 3 hours. And we're gonna make a decision then, because our next camp spot is Baxter Bridge State Forest Campground. And that will be another 12 miles from there. So our decision is, do we stop at Baxter Bridge or do we camp at Baxter Bridge? So that's our decision we need to make at 131 because our pickup has to have enough leeway time to know what we're doing and plan his day. My wonderful husband, who's my biggest supporter. And so that's the goal today. This stretch of the river, again, I don't paddle often. If I paddle the stretch, I usually put in at Lucas Road Bridge and paddle to 131. And so I've paddled this a few times, but not often. So it should be very pleasant the first stretch. And then once I get to Baxter or 131, that's the section of the river they paddle almost all the time. But I'm going to share it with you because this whole river is just awesome. So good morning and let's go paddling. just passing Lucas Road Launch. This is where I launch from many times. Now we're getting into some nice tall banks that I was telling you about earlier along the river as we get further downstream. I'll show them to you. You can pick up on all the daisies up there, but the daisies are abundant right now along the river. There's a nice little camp spot right on a little peninsula. Just never know when you're going to come across one. Little deck you're looking at right now is part of the 131, Michigan US 131 Roadside Park. And this is where the boat launch is at one end of this park. But this is a lovely deck to walk down and stretch your legs. There's picnic tables and benches up there. It's a beautiful boardwalk. And it's located right in the center of the parking lot of the road, of the parking lot of the park. And then across the way, you'll see the sign for Chippewa Landing, which we're coming up on, which is another major livery that services the Manistee River. And we are located off from 131 right now, just south of Fife Lake, Michigan. So they service this section of the Manistee River. I have no idea how much or what the length is that they service. The Smithville Landing was farther upstream that I showed you before. And then Chippewa Landing is down here just south of Fife Lake, Michigan. that's the landing. As you can see, this is also part of the North Country Trail. So we have a little hike up here on this paved drive from the boat launch up to the park. And like I said, it's also part of the North Country Trail that runs right through this parking lot. Nice picnic tables, benches, grills, nice big outhouses. So yeah, this is the 131 Roadside Park, and walking up to the hand pump to replenish our water. And there's the sign for the boardwalk, and the boardwalk is lovely and goes all the way down to the river that I had showed you already. So we had a quick snack, lunch, and we are now leaving 131. We looked at the radar while we're here with good signal, and it looks like there's a big storm system moving in from the west towards us. So we have until, we think, 3 o'clock before it might get here. So our hopes is to paddle to Baxter Bridge, which is another 12 miles, and get picked up and off the river, because the storms are going to last all night and almost all day tomorrow. So our trip is cut short just a little bit, and we'll come back to the river Sunday and finish up that. But anyway, you take what you have, and we're so lucky that we live someplace where we have this option. So here we go, mad dash to Baxter Bridge. So from the 131 launch there at the Roadside Park to the 131, I think the official name might be Old US 131 State Forest Campground. It's about a 2 mile by river. It's a lovely campground. It's one of my favorite campgrounds. They have a nice deck launch there. It's, you know, you have to get in and out from the side. You got to pull your boat up a couple of stairs, which is really no big deal unless it's fully loaded. But I've done it before and it was fine. Anyway, the campground is lovely. It has a hand pump. It has at least 2 sets of outhouses, and they're usually very clean. It's a first come, first serve campground. Again, it's just south of Fife Lake, Michigan. And you access it right off US 131 as you're going north. And so the North Country Trail also runs right through the campground. And so the campground offers the North Country Trail, and it offers the Manistee River. Past 131, if you're making a plan, you know, Baxter Bridge is the next campground. And that's also a first come, first serve State Forest Campground. And that's also a lovely campground, and it has a brand new launch site on it. And yeah, so that's 12 miles, maybe 10 miles past the campground. So, and it's just a really nice stretch of river. It's quite lovely. Well, the whole river is quite lovely. Anyway, so that's just to give you some information. There's lots of books out there that talk about it, but you know, I like to hear firsthand experience from people that actually paddle the river a lot. And I, on average, put about 500 miles on this river every summer. So I'm out here as often as possible, and I'm so blessed that it's so close to home for me. The river dumps into Lake Michigan. Well, it dumps into Little Manistee Lake, I think it's called, and then it's another 3 mile paddle through that little lake, and then you come out in the channel in Manistee, Michigan. You paddle through this channel, and I'm telling you, I've done a through paddle on this river, and after a whole week I'm being on the river and getting there, and you just see where the river waters meet Lake Michigan waters, and there's just something so, I don't know, not well, magical about it. Just knowing, wow, I just paddled the whole river, and look at, I'm dumping right into this beautiful Lake Michigan. When me and my friends did it, I think it was 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago now, we planned on 6 days, 5 nights and 6 days, and it wasn't rigorous paddling. Gosh, my one friend, he had a fishing kayak, and then my other buddy, he had like just a 10-foot, 10-foot boat. And we just took our time, but we still averaged between 20 and 25 miles a day, and mostly dispersed camping. We did camp at 131 one night, and that was it. The rest of the nights were dispersed camping. And yeah, so I like to share my information with other paddlers. Like I said, there's other rivers I want to paddle, and I can read about it in books and stuff, but man, listening to someone that really has a ton of experience on that river for most of it really is helpful. And so that's why I'm sharing it with you. And if you stay tuned, you're going to see a historical, I'm going to call it a historical site, and I'm going to show it to you. But you have to stay tuned. So there's my little teaser, because we're not done yet. So here we are. Oh, if I can turn my boat around. This is the 131 campground launching pad. There's the stairs that you have to pull your boat up, and as you can see, the side launch looks like it needs a little repair, but that's the launch from 131. And up those stairs and to the left is a wide open area of campsites that are walk-in, specific for hikers and paddlers. And then as you get into the campground more, it's just a normal campground. I can't remember how many sites are there. I want to say in the 20s. Nice campground. The sites are bigger and they're spaced out good. Lots of privacy. Outhouses are usually kept up nice. And I've camped there lots of times. I've got lots of video content out there from me camping there. So that's the launch site. We're almost to the historical marker. Can't wait to show you. Okay, here we are. Just around the bend. That train trestle was built in the mid to late 1800s, and it's still functional. And this year they have began the process of repairing it. A lot of foresting has been done because the North Country Trail to the right of this crosses the tracks, and so a lot of the forestry you can see from there. But isn't it beautiful? Built in the 18, I read it before, 18, ends with a 6. I can't remember if it's 1876, 96. It's in the mid to late 1800s. And I just think she is beautiful. Isn't that just amazing? I just love it. I just love her. One of my hopes is that one of these days I'm either going to be snowshoeing, hiking, biking, or paddling, and there's a train that's going to come over this, and I'm going to be here when it happens. There's another dispersed camping site there. Looks like it's pretty well established, very popular. Oh, look at that clearing you can see up in there. Nice beach landing. Nice. Ripples on the water, but the river knows it's raining before you do, because I can barely feel anything. But look at all the raindrops leaving ripples on the water. I think we only have 2 more miles to go, and hopefully this is the hardest it'll rain until we get off. But I have my raincoat ready. Just gonna suck loading the boats up and stuff if it's pouring down rain. But I love seeing the ripples on the water. Here's another interesting piece of wood that I get a kick out of. Let me see. Hopefully I'm at a good angle. Okay, from a distance, doesn't it look like a pirate face? My little buddy. I'm just videoing the launch. Ow. So that's the Baxter Bridge launch for the campground, and that's where we were going to start or end our day and camp tonight. But looking at the weather, we decided to end our kayak camp trip here. So we're going to paddle down to Baxter Bridge, which is not even a mile down the river. Baxter Bridge Campground is a lovely campground, but that's the launch right there. Now when you get out of the launch, get out at the launch there, you have to walk up a little ways to the campground. And when you first get up there, there's 3 sites that are up there, and they are way just out in the sun, and there's no water or outhouses up there. So in order to access those, you need to walk down to the main campground, which isn't that far. I think maybe a 1/10 of a mile down to the main campground. And there's where you have Portageons, the outhouses, hand pump, and the other designated campsites. It's a nice campground, first come, first serve. Baxter Bridge Campground. with that, we are finished. The sun is bright shining, but I can see what's on the horizon. So we're gonna get off here, unload the boats, load the boats, and finish this adventure until next time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed what I shared with you. And again, rise up, reach, and reconnect.
Mama needs to wash her boat so the river can be safe. Then I'm gonna take a picture.